This is a public meeting of the Berlin Conservation Commission occurring via Zoom webinar on June 3rd, 2020, starting at 7 p.m. As a preliminary matter, please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to see you. Take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. So confirming member access, this is John Aney, Chair of the Berlin Conservation Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me prior to me calling the meeting to order. Okay, Carolyn McDonald, say aye, please.
Aye, please.
Louise Janda, say aye.
Aye.
Liz DeCara, say aye.
Aye.
Steve Beard, say
Right
aye.
by now.
Me.
Excellent. And then Carol may or may not join us. Robin Berry, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Holly Kennedy DeGrudela is celebrating her husband's birthday, so she won't be with us. Walter will be joining us later. And then Leanne has been assisting with the production. Mary had to help another meeting go on. I don't believe we have any guests. Louise, you had emailed Heather the link, but I'm not aware that she's actually attending. Is that correct?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah, that's fine. So we have no guests, which is fine.
No, she was just on the,
Right, yes.
on the distribution.
On the agenda.
list.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, with a quorum of the commission present, I call this meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. on Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. All right, this is an open meeting of the Conservation Commission and is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Berlin website, www.townofberlin.com. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised, directed by the Commonwealth, to suspend public gatherings. That as such, Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, provided reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. While no in-person attendance of members of the public is permitted, every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio, video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. The standard public comment portion of this meeting will accommodate limited public comment. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening using the Zoom platform as posted on the agenda, identifying how the public may join. The public is encouraged to follow along during this meeting using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. I didn't post any supporting materials. Commission members and speakers on the agenda, please remember to mute your phone or computer if you're being annoying. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Public comments, to the extent that our technical capability allows, public comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of this meeting as follows. Attendees' phones and other devices will be muted unless and until they raise their hand and are recognized by me to speak with Robin's assistance. I ask each member of the public who wishes to speak to identify their name, and I will afford each speaker time to ask a question and make a brief comment. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Ta-da. Oops.
You have a Rolodex?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Somewhere in my office at work, I have an old Rolodex from like eons ago. I don't know why I don't just throw it away, but whatever. So, all right, now I'll read the minutes because I'm on a roll. Everybody received the minutes, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All righty. So meeting minutes from June 3rd, 2020. Meeting opened at 7:10. Jen opened the meeting by stating that it was being recorded and explained the reasons for the meeting being held remotely on Zoom by executive order of Governor Baker. Due to COVID-19, the town offices are closed to the public. Public gatherings limited to no more than 10 people. Is that still true?
I don't know, but can you share the minutes while you read?
Oh, the screen share thing. Oh, I was so excited about reading that I forgot to do that.
Oh,
I know, they're just
And
so
you're
excited.
doing very well. I hated
How's
to
that?
interrupt.
Did that
Okay.
work?
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I was being a dunce. Anyway, where was I?
I'd start over.
No. A roll call attendance was taken with the following results. Attendees, John Aney, Chair, Steve Beard, Louise Jonda, Walter Bickford, and Liz DiChiara. Associate non-voting members, Robin Berry, who is also the co-host, and Holly Kennedy DeGrudela. Other attendees, Mary Arata, Administrative Assistant, William Muldoon, owner of property at 35 Randall Road, Seth Donahue of Ducharme Dillis, representing Mr. Muldoon, attending the meeting by phone at 7:30 for the appointment concerning 35 Randall Road. Minutes of previous meeting, minutes of May 20th, 2020 were reviewed and amended. Louise moved to accept the minutes as amended. Steve seconded the motion, which passed unanimously by roll call vote. There was no treasurer's report. Bills and forms, request for reimbursement. John submitted a request for reimbursement in the amount of $39.90 for postage. Let's move that we reimburse the amount for $39.90 for postage plus a $1,000 bonus. Steve seconded the motion, which passed with unanimous roll call vote, except for that $1,000. Budget estimate, Margaret Noderwitz, Town Administrator, requested a fiscal year 21 first quarter budget. John presented a budget estimate for expenses to cover postage, supplies, dues, and fees for the months of July, August, and September 2020, totaling $900 for those 3 months. Liz moved we accept John's estimate of $900 for the next quarter expenses. Louise seconded the motion. The motion was passed by unanimous roll call vote. Mails and notices, letter from Parker Environmental Corporation. Steve Beard, the CC representative of the Earthworks Committee, reported that Parker Environmental Corporation supervises the soil importation to Maplewood Farm. Steve stated the importation of soils to Maplewood Farm does not come under Earthworks Committee's jurisdiction since this project was started before the like-kind soils bylaw was voted in. The letter was sent because the town has an agreement with Maplewood Farms. The town will be notified when any soil is brought in. KP Law has jurisdiction on this project. The Concom does not need to take any action. Community outreach meeting for marijuana establishment, June 16th. The Concom received a certified letter from a Michigan group that is conducting a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, June 16th at 6:40 p.m. The purpose of the meeting is to provide Berlin residents with information on a proposed marijuana facility to be located on Banner Road off Dotteledge Boulevard. It would have been more fun if they did it at 420. Just saying. Facebook questions. The Facebook page has been provided for residents to post any questions that they have concerning town affairs. Garth Coleman asked how the present state mandate against the use of reusable bags would affect the town's vote on the plastic bag ban. John stated the state mandate would probably supersede any town vote. Marcia Johnston asked what was happening to funds for the Community Preservation Act since the state was required a revote on the CPA Committee question. John stated this was really a question for the treasurer, but thought the money would be held until the town votes to form the committee at the annual town meeting on June 22nd. Is it the 22nd, Liz?
Yes.
All right. Liz will respond to both questions from the CC. Wetlands. Solar Farm 330 Randall Road enforcement order. Pat Garner's May 30th report was encouraging since most of the required work has been done. The basins have been repaired and sediment has been removed, but he is still concerned that the hydro seeding has not been 100% completed. John clarified that since Pat's last visit, he has been notified that seeding is completed. Pat will continue to monitor the site until all requirements have been completed. The stop work order will remain in place until then. B, Highland Ridge Development EP number 1070241, Russo Brothers. The Highland Ridge Development has been sold by Chris Slade to Homes at Highland Ridge LLC at 1 Golden Connecticut Court, Westboro, Mass. 01. Could somebody look up the zip code for Westboro for me?
Yeah, I got it.
15. I think that's 81.
I'll look it up just to make sure.
Okay. The person associated with the sale is Stephen Venencasa of the same address. The project has been a subcontractor to Russo Brothers, so I highlighted this because they're actually will be doing the site development.
Okay. And it's who are planning. Okay, so that whole thing.
I just gonna who are doing this, who are.
I get 01581.
I have 80, 81, and 82. So hold on.
Yeah, theirs was 8-1.
Okay.
Yep. 81 for that address.
So 01581.
Getting there.
Louise, I'll give you honey if you can figure out the margins and this, so this doesn't happen anymore.
Oh,
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, I just,
I'll deal with it later.
Yeah,
John,
fix a zip code.
oh, right. 1, right?
Yeah.
One.
yeah.
Okay. John reported that he made a site visit with Walter and Andy Russo of Russo Brothers and reviewed the plans for the development. John stated there is a 50% leading to wetlands on each side of the area to be developed. The plans call for retention basins to be put in to control stormwater runoff. The OC already in place requires an environmental monitor. Pat Garner has agreed to do the monitoring, which will be paid for by the developer. 3, Louise asked if the wetlands were when the wetlands are last delineated. Pat will be asked to check on that. 4, John reported that some tree cutting is taking place to make access into the site from Highland Street easier. It's really is or that some tree cutting that. He asked me. The guy asked me.
Okay.
Yeah. The reason was so the trucks wouldn't like be obstructing Highland Street when they were going in and out. And I said that was fine. Holly commented on the number of trees being cut and what would happen to all the stumps from the trees. John also stated the conservation restriction agreement, which is to be placed on part of the property, is coming along. Steve asked the CR be recorded on the deed before work starts, since the Concom will not have gotten promised CRs in the past because the CRs have not been recorded prior to the work taking place. John will follow up on the issue. 100 River Road West, Old Tyler Farm. John and Walter reported, is that C? Yeah. On the site visit they did on May 27th, 2020 from the Indian Head Farm property to inspect a possible wetland violation at 100 River Road West. The owners of the Indian Farm granted permission to view the back of the neighboring site from their property. Dave Burke has been asked to do an inspection also from the Indian Head Farm property. There is presently a cease and desist order issued by the building inspector on this property. The building inspector issued the C&D order because he ruled that the home business being conducted there does not conform to the zoning bylaws. The building inspector ruled that the business is a contractor's yard, which is not allowed. The ZBA is holding a hearing at 6:45 on June 10th, 2020. The owner of the property has appealed the C&D order on the grounds that the business is not a contractor's yard. The purpose of the hearing is to determine whether to uphold the inspector's cease and desist order. Louise and Walter volunteered to attend the Zoom meeting by the ZBA and report back to the Concom. Well inspection 32 Crosby Road. John reported that he was contacted by Harry Reid of 32 Crosby Road, who's a very pleasant man, requesting that the Concom sign off on as well. John did a site visit and determined there was no problem. He notified the Board of Health by letter that the Concom had no concern. Appointments and hearings, 7:30, Seth Donahue and William Muldoon, 35 Round Road. William Muldoon, property owner, and Seth Donahue of Ducharme and Dillis were present to hear the concerns that there may be another wetland protection violation on the property. John stated that there's been some concern by abutters that some construction was encroaching on wetlands further back. Walter did an inspection from a neighbor's land and felt the construction was far enough away. John contacted Seth Donahue, representing Mr. Muldoon, to clarify whether the access road was encroaching on nearby wetlands. John commented that the SCT had expressed concern because of the proximity of Great Oak Farm, which is under a conservation restriction. Seth stated he will do an inspection with Mr. Muldoon the next day and will report back to the CC by mail. Liz asked about verification of the wetland flagging. Seth will verify that also. John inquired if a timeline for the remedial work to be done had been set. The discussion ensued with Mr. Muldoon, saying he wanted to do the work when it would cause the least disturbance. John said he saw no reason why the work could not begin soon, or rather immediately, since the ground is currently dry. 7, new business, opening on the commission. Since Carol O'Connell just resigned from the Concom, there is an opening on the board. The 2 associate non-voting members, Rob Berry and Holly Kennedy Grudela, expressed interest in becoming voting members, but would be fine with whomever was appointed after discussing which candidate has the skills that would best fit with the commission's needs at this time. The Concom felt Robin would best fit our need. A recommendation will be made to the select board. Concom members express their thanks to Holly for her past contributions to the commission, encourage her to continue her efforts, particularly with land protection and trail work. No old business, land acquisition, no actions taken during the regular meeting, but an executive session was held for the purpose after the regular session was adjourned. Land management, Wendell opening. John stated the Wendler Trail was open for use, but a virtual opening is being planned for Sudbury Valley trustees with the possibility of filming by Spectrum News and Berlin Cable Channel. John displayed a map of the trail showing how the Wendler Trail connects with Bolton Trails and 40Ks at Lancaster Road. Over a CR visit, SVT notified the Concom that they've discovered an abutter had been throwing waste onto the Oberg property. John wrote a letter to the abutter that they had to remove the waste. Walter suggested we send letters to conservation land abutters regarding the rules. It was also suggested to post the information on the town website. New map, Berlin Meadows and Sawyer Hill CRs. John reported the Eagle Scout project mapping, trail connecting Berlin Meadows for the trail on conservation land at Eco Village is nearly completed. He displayed the map, which will be posted on the kiosks at both ends of the trail. The webmaster will be asked to post them on our webpage. Rusty old cars. The CEC was asked about 2 rusty old cars on town land on the east side of Line Road from the recently purchased Oberg property. A hiker was interested in purchasing one of them. After discussion, the CEC decided no action will be taken at this time. No community outreach, executive session at this time. Louise moved that we go into executive session to discuss a possible land purchase. Liz seconded the motion. A roll call vote resulted in the following: John, I; Steve, I; Walter, I; Liz, I; Louise, I. Steve moved that we adjourn the regular meeting and move to executive session without returning to the regular meeting. Liz seconded the motion, which passed by unanimous roll call vote. The meeting ended at 8:27. Minutes by Louise Chen and John Aney. Okay.
Did I really say I or me?
You want me to put? I have a distinct.
You did
Yes.
say I. I almost put I and then in parentheses,
Me.
me.
Mhm.
Anyway,
I said it with a capital.
I know some people get capital A, some don't. I know. I saw
I
that.
know.
Small I, and I said a big I. I move to accept the minutes as corrected.
Second. Oh,
any
Third.
further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Oh, I have to do a roll call vote.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Walter.
John, I; Louise,
I,
Steve,
Me.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
and Liz.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are saved. That is done. I'll try to make it look a little
okay.
prettier later.
Carolyn, you moved.
Liz moved and Walter and I both seconded.
Okay.
I seconded it first.
Okay.
You guys
Whoa, what
moved.
was that?
They moved. I thought they lived in the same place. Mm.
Okay, next on the agenda, treasurer's report. This is, I sent out the agenda. This is a rough estimate. If Carol could double check, that would be great, Steve.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask her. She's not in the house right now.
Okay, so annual budget, my best guess is $754.01, which is a reduction from before, and I don't really know how that happened. So, wetlands fund, which if this probably is accurate, is $11,091.97. And you ready, Louise?
Mm-hmm.
The open space fund is $187,006.93.
Okay.
So if we stop reimbursing John Aney, we might have the same budget, right?
Yeah, those big
What's
tips.
the annual budget again?
Well, you know what? I don't even know. I think it's $754.01, but that didn't quite jibe, and I just don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll ask her.
Yeah. Okay. Next, bills and forms. Reimburse Walter. So number one, Walter spent some money doing certified mail for the recent enforcement order on 100 River Road, and it came to what, $5.95?
Yeah.
So entertain a motion to reimburse Walter $5.95.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Third.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Can't do
John,
that.
I. Louise,
I,
Steve,
Me.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
Walter.
Abstain.
Man,
Oh,
that's a low bar for, yeah.
yeah.
So Walter, you just need to get the receipt to me somehow.
All right, I'm looking at it right in front of me here.
Well, that's not useful.
Do you have a scanner?
that if you could scan it and email it to me, or you could just drop it in my mailbox or
Or
tape
he
it to my front door or something.
If he
All
has
right.
a cell phone with a camera, he can take a picture of it and email that to you.
I'll get it to you one way or another.
All right.
If I have to handle it.
Yeah. I actually
Then he's
rode
gonna
down
put in for mileage.
South
Oh,
Street. Yes. I went down South Street today, Walter, but you weren't home. So, I mean, your truck wasn't there, so I didn't stop. Okay. Bill from KP Law. Screen share.
Hey,
Can you see that?
Yep.
So this part made sense. You know, they basically, you know, they put their 2 cents in or regarding the baseline report, $36. That's fine. This part is a little too vague for my liking. Accumulated disbursements at cost, title search, reproduction documents, express mail, special postage, toll calls, and online research.
yeah,
So
for what project?
Request for an itemized bill.
Well, that's what I did. So if I basically said, if this has anything to do with Highland, we shouldn't be paying it at all. It should be the developer. And if it doesn't have to do with Highland, what is it and why haven't we paid it before? So I'm suggesting that we don't take any action on this right now.
I agree.
Agree.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
push it back.
All right.
Plus, they didn't even put any hours. They just put a lump
Right.
sum.
Or what project or anything.
Right.
I like, can I submit a bill that way?
No.
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 So, and then we got the town accountant request, which Carol is helping me with. So we don't usually vote on those anyways. I just sign them. I just need Carol to verify that things are correct. And she was kind enough to help, and it will help train the new treasurer and all that kind of stuff. All right.
He is a kind person.
She is. Too bad Steve isn't. He's a little.
I know, huh? Well, you know, both halves can't be the same, you know.
Mail and notices. So 47 acres off of Central Street.
Okay.
Where did this map go?
That's the Wilson
Yep.
building.
No, I'm trying to screen share something.
Oh.
So I just had to find that. There we go. So yeah, so the town's been contacted by this group, LASA, which is, I wrote it down. Love all, serve all. That's what it stands for. It's a religious group, and they want to build a building on the Wilson property.
Right. It's actually a non-denominational spiritual center.
Oh, okay. Well, at any rate, it's nonprofit. So I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, this is sort of where they want to build it, because this is the only place that you could, because it's dry. I mean, so they need, apparently the entire area is for sale, but as you can see, a lot of it's wet. And they're trying, they are making a effort to be very open and agreeable, and they want community input. Margaret's trying to get together like a Zoom meeting to discuss it with people, you know, I don't know. I signed up, I told them I could make it on Wednesdays only. I think Carolyn might have too, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they had also emailed me about this, you know, this, if you look at this land on the quad maps, that, you know, the state wetland maps and stuff, it looks pretty dry, but those maps aren't always accurate. So I told them that, you know, I wouldn't only trust the state maps. That they're going to have to.
John, that is actually quite a high hill there. There's no wetlands on it. They're going to have to do a lot of earth moving and maneuvering of the land to get something level enough to put up there. It's a very,
It's pretty rocky too, right?
yeah. But across the tracks, as you pointed out, it's
It's all wet.
all wet. Even where it doesn't show the little symbols there for wetlands, it's all wet in there.
Yeah. So, okay, well, that's good to know. So we may not have to really deal with this too much then.
I don't think so. I'd be surprised if we did.
Okay. And if people are interested in doing the Zoom thing, I can distribute it. Okay, so that's that. Next is the MVP series. Do I have something to share on this one? I don't think I do. All right, so everybody got a series of emails. You know, there's this municipal vulnerability program series that the town set up during work hours. So,
Terrific.
With my email today, because I said, I emailed everybody, I think, was it last night or Monday night? One of these two nights, they really were hoping to get people to participate, and you guys were kind enough to respond.
I saw Walter wants to sign up to make a donation to the climate control.
He does, actually. He's very generous.
Well,
He's a real left winger. Yeah.
Had to throw that in there, Walter.
Exactly.
it drives me crazy. I actually spoke with Margaret a little bit today, and we were talking about funding for the Lyman School property up there, and the issue came up, and she said something about this. If we qualify, there may be some sort of a funding coming from what you're talking about right now that could be applied to the parcel of land at the corner of Lyman and
Oh, okay.
Really?
and I can't explain any more than that. So it sounds more important than I otherwise thought it was.
All right. Well, maybe you could show up then.
Yeah, maybe I could. Yeah.
All right. So Holly will show up to all three. I can only show up to the one on the 24th because I'm otherwise working, and Louise perhaps can show up for the one on the 24th and 25th she wrote, but I assume everybody else is working.
Well, I could
Right.
show up tomorrow, I guess.
That'd be good, Walter. And then you could be a real curmudgeon if it starts getting annoying.
Well, I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Oh, you got him.
Okay, next. We have a number of items under wetlands. The first is solar farm on 330 Randall Road, DEP 0239. The enforcement order. I sent around Patrick's last site visit. I also talked to Patrick this morning about it. It's just kind of frustrating. They're at this point, we're waiting to see if there will be adequate germination. The construction work is essentially done, but they really did not do a very good job with site preparation for grass. They didn't put any topsoil on. They sort of weren't terribly thorough with their hydro seeding. It's frustrating. So, the enforcement order is in place, but I've also reached out to Leanne, and she had me, I have a call into Henry Wheeler. I just want to make sure that everybody in the town is aware and on board with the fact there's an enforcement order and that nothing can take place. Because right now it's just it's just an ugly field full of panels. It doesn't do anything. And I want to make sure they can't hook anything up until we're satisfied. So Guy Winters had emailed saying that, they won't ask for a COC till everything's done. But I'm less worried about that than I am about making sure it's done before they try to
Because
use
they
it.
can hook up without a COC.
Right.
So
not without
the
a-
COC is really just a bow on the
Right.
present, but it doesn't really do much.
That is correct. So I want to make sure, but that they can't jump over any permitting hurdles that are still in place, that still need to be done before
Yep.
the enforcement order is lifted.
That, I wasn't quite clear on that. So they can or cannot hook up.
Oh, before the COC, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the COC is only really useful for is if they were to then turn around and sell it.
Right.
Because then it's like a lien on the deed, but people will go years without requesting a COC. It only really matters if they're going to turn around and try to sell the land
Yep.
or the
Right.
property.
But with the enforcement order, they can't.
Right.
So
Well,
I say hold that till it gets done.
right. I'm just trying to do my homework before I start applying more pressure.
Make sure that everyone's aware of the enforcement order.
And I know what the facts are.
Mhm.
Okay.
Speak,
Next.
would you want to contact our attorneys who are billing us for unspecified amounts?
No. No, I think I'd rather work with our not investment,
Inspectors.
inspector team first.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that will be signing the stuff, not the lawyers. Okay, may I move on to the next issue?
Yes.
Okay, Hundred
Get
River
my
Road.
permission.
Oh, thank you. Old Tyler
Yeah.
Farm enforcement order. So thanks to Walter, he identified this issue. He and I had gone out there, then, he got Dave Burke to go out there. And then last week we wrote up an enforcement order and had enough of us sign it to get it mailed off. And Carolyn, you were helpful in finding the address of the property owner. So there's now an enforcement order in place.
I will add to that I mailed it Monday, certified. And, what goes out has to come back. I mean, it has to be tracked. But anyway, I go up there daily trying to catch the owner and talk to him. And as I'm there, I can observe more truckloads there one day, and the next day they're gone because they're pushed over the bank. They're still being filled in there. It's, I wonder if there's an earth removal. Steve, you're on that group.
Yes.
What do you call it?
The Earthworks Committee.
Earthworks Committee. And he's got an actual dump going down there. That's what it is, a trash disposal.
Yeah. The Earthworks Committee right now, we're an advisory to the board, the selectmen board.
Mhm.
And typically how that works is somebody comes in with a permit to remove soil, topsoil, or bring some in. That's when we usually get involved. So we usually don't see anything until the Board of Selectmen notify us to say they want advice on this topic.
Well, here's a situation where they're bringing stuff in and they've never notified you. So are they violating?
They are violating then. That they don't have a permit to bring soil in, then they're violating it. So that needs to be brought to the selectmen, and then they'll put it on us.
Can you contact them? I mean, you're on the group, not me. So if you
Yep.
could.
Can you send me an email with all the details, and I'll let me see what I can do.
All right. Okay.
Speaking of email, I got an email today from Chris Flood asking if he could have a conversation about, also got a copy of the enforcement order.
He's the attorney.
Yes, he's the
Yes.
attorney. Just asking what would be involved with remediation. So,
They need to hire a civil engineer.
right. So they need to get it delineated. They need to figure out what's new, what's been done, and undo it all.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was up to speed as to what the violation actually is so that I can advise him on how to fix it.
Yeah, you got an address. Question.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Did
see the hand waving.
Did I overhear Walter saying that they were dumping junk? So it's not even like kind soil? They shouldn't be doing it anyway, but what are they dumping?
Well, there's literally, trash lumber in there and stuff, and brush, all kinds of residue from landscaping, lawn installations, just truckloads of stuff that they've taken off of jobs and dumping in there, which is wrong.
And is it still going on?
It was
Like since Monday?
But
And so
again,
that-
I mailed it Monday, so
Yeah.
they may not have received it until today even. But
Right.
the lawyer,
Yeah,
the attorney received it.
Right. I told Chris the other day when I was getting the address that he needed to advise his client that they needed to stop immediately.
What? I
Um,
don't, tell him to contact me. 'Cause
Okay.
I know it pretty well, you know.
Yeah.
Louise, did you have a question?
No, I want to make a comment. Okay, so their business, they're doing business as address is Marlboro, and their office is in Marlboro. So they're not actually listed as a business here in Berlin.
Correct. Which is why the building inspector stopped them.
And because
Correct.
the building inspector thought that they thought what they were doing was a contractor's yard, which is not allowed in that zoning.
That's different than Phil.
But you know, that's an interesting point, Liz. I didn't think of it that way. If he stopped them and notified them they can't carry on that business, and on a daily basis, they are carrying on the business by using it as a refuge dump for their business, and equipment's in and out of there, they're violating the building inspector's order.
Right.
Well, the building inspector's order, if I read it right, was actually a outdoor storage yard.
Which, if they're bringing in soil for landscaping
Storage of what?
Didn't say that.
Right.
I just saw storage of material.
They have storage of loam, of mulch. What was the other thing? There were 3 piles of stuff there.
Mhm.
So the materials are not supposed to be stored outside this,
Correct.
in that where, that's what I understand.
Right. I think, isn't that that's anywhere in town, I believe. Is that true, Steve?
What's
You
that?
know? That you can't store piles of like loam and,
Well, that depends if the loom came from out of town or into town. If it's in town, it's a different story than if it came out of town.
right.
That's kind of like the like-kind soil agreement. I'm allowed to move topsoil from my property to maybe my neighbor's yard. It's still in Berlin and it hasn't moved out and in, so they know what's coming and going. It's when
Right.
it crosses town line, it's a different story.
Right. Okay.
And they could be doing a job for anywhere.
Right. We don't know that.
Right.
It could have chemicals too. If it's loam, it could be.
But it
And
needs
they're dumping it into the wetlands.
Right.
that right there is enough. But the wetlands, we need to do an enforcement order. The building inspector's enforcement order is not going to cover that.
Right.
Yeah, well, we did.
So, right. And
Okay.
so right now he's got 2 stop work orders.
Gotcha.
If the chairman would be so kind as to designate me the contact person, I'll pursue this thing with the building inspector and anybody else and everybody else that needs to deal with that thing. We've got,
Walter, I designate you as the contact person and point person to get this thing going.
okay.
Second,
have a-
third, and fourth.
I do have a question. So if if he's given the enforcement order and he just keeps dumping stuff, so he's violating it, who do we contact? The DEP or the police?
I would call the environmental police, get
Right.
an EO on there, but I have to make sure that if he's received a certified letter, and he has to have by today, his attorney did. But that's why, Louise, Carolyn, if he contacts me, I'll tell him that his client, and I think he has a responsibility to his client to relay the message. If his client doesn't pick up his mail, that is an excuse for him not to
Right.
realize that.
Right. But you're getting on that certified letter, you're going to get a response that it was received. Correct?
So Carolyn, you will give your lawyer's contact
Walter's
information to Walter?
information. Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
Walter.
Walter, I'll give him your contact information.
All right, he gave me his.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you, Walter.
And then send me anything you want because I'll relay it to the Earth Board and the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so good. Thank you very much. Are we done with this issue?
I am.
For now.
Okay.
I have a question about it. You can send a letter certified, and you can track it, or you can send it certified with return requested where they have to sign for it.
Right.
Correct.
What did you send?
Sign for it. They had to sign for it.
Okay.
Okay. And you haven't got the receipt back saying it's been signed.
Yeah, no, I didn't check the mail.
Well, it might go to the town office. You know, but I was at the town office this morning and it wasn't there. There was nothing in the mailbox. But you know, I can stop by again tomorrow. Because you plebes aren't allowed in the town office.
I know that, but that's okay.
Germ carriers really is what we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, the disinfection protocol, once you pass those glass doors, is pretty intense. I don't think you really want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You
Spray
do
it
look
out.
a little paler.
There's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of tubes and a lot of tubes. I just don't want to go into it. Okay, next, 200 Crosby Road site visit, DEP 0248. So next on July 3rd, we have a hearing for the amended OC for 200 Crosby Road. But in anticipation of that, I thought I'd do a site visit just because. So I'll let them know I want that. And if I want to know if anybody else is interested or what good times would be before I tell them.
Do we
Yeah.
really want to have a meeting on the 3rd of July?
Are you going somewhere?
It's actually the 1st of July. Sorry, it's the 1st of July.
First is all right.
Yeah. My apologies. It's a Wednesday. It's the 1st of July. So yeah, you're in quarantine anyway. So so I don't know. Is anyone else interested?
Give me a ring, John, when you
Yeah,
go.
I would like to go. If you do it anytime after 5,
How about okay
it's still light enough out.
after 5? Okay.
I would also like to go.
Okay.
I'd like to be on the list. And
I'll send everybody.
yeah.
All right.
All right, good. So I will contact him, let him know that after 5 is good. Wednesdays are like best for that for me. Of course, I could also sometimes do weekends. Because some nights I get, well, Wednesdays and Fridays, because on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, I can't guarantee that I'd be home before 7. So I'll say Wednesdays or Fridays, okay?
Yeah.
Shit, nice to only work 3 days a week.
4,
Oh.
but I'm just out early.
Oh.
4.
Oh.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'll switch schedules with you.
No.
No, I'm not liking it either.
All right. Next, 35 Randall Road report, DEP. There are 2 of them, 0243 and 0249. I sent this out to everybody a little while ago. Do you want me to post it up again or?
Sure, you're good at that.
Show us your skills.
Uh-oh.
No, it just takes a while.
Come on, if Walter can figure out his computer, you can
There you
figure
go.
Yeah,
out.
that's the trouble is I can't.
So basically, I don't want to read the whole thing, but we, this is a follow-up from last meeting. So Seth went out there, and the work's been completed. There's a new driveway, a cut from Randall Road in. This is that interior stone wall. It's on the other side of that. It goes down a little bit. The old cart path bears to the right, so it didn't fall. I think, one of the concerns was it was going to follow the old cart path the whole way, and it did not. It actually pierced the stone wall and then ends about 350 feet-ish, over by the septic area. And then, he pointed out that the septic work's been done. He concludes, based on site observations, the alterations for the driveway and removal of the stone foundation have occurred outside the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. We trust this meets your needs at this time. So, so what Seth is telling us is that, all that road work was outside of wetlands and outside of our purview. Thoughts?
Is that the only part, is that the only work that people witnessed that people were concerned about being in the buffer zone?
That was my understanding. Walter may have a different understanding, but my understanding, this is really just about this road. Particularly when they started putting it in, you know, and punching, because this had been all overgrown right here.
Right.
You know, and so when they punched this in, I think it got a lot of people, a lot of the neighbors were alarmed, but they weren't really sure what he was doing. This way, there is some wetlands, but you know, it's more than 100 feet away, and it's a pretty small area of wetlands over there.
Okay. And
okay.
where does Gretchen Stoddard live in relation to this photograph?
You have to ask Walter.
What was that question? I'm sorry. What?
So the picture that we're looking at now, where does Gretchen Stoddard live?
Oh, she would live way out behind the house that you see there, the garage to the left, way out there.
This way.
1,000 feet.
Okay, it just,
The only thing, you know, we can't pursue it right now. As he continues, you'll have to file orders, NOIs
Right.
or whatever, because there is wetlands there. And I actually think that intermittent stream that he violated before actually runs right through this road. That road goes right.
No,
Yes.
no, the stream's down here.
Yeah.
The road ends here. The stream's down here. I do remember from the site visits. This ends way before the stream.
yeah, it was a good walk before we got back in there.
Yeah. No, it ends before the stream.
Right. And didn't Seth say that none of that stone has been removed?
Oh no, that is, you can see it hasn't been removed. If you,
Correct.
you know,
So if that stream was here, you would be able to see it.
Thank you.
You'd see the rock in this photograph.
no, you'd have to like turn around and look the other direction to even see the stream. You'd have to turn, you know, do a 180 and look in the other direction to see the stream.
Right.
But if you, like, I drove by and bicycled by down Randall over here, and you can see that the rock's still there. And he admits the rocks. I mean, in the last meeting, he admitted that he hadn't done anything. And that's where I said, well, you know, there's no reason not to get it working. Okay. But so we're done with this for the time being. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Next. This is just a follow-up that on 276 West Street, Scott Morrison emailed me that the OOC is recorded in the Worcester County Registry of Deeds, book 62559, page 259. So that's good.
Good.
Yeah, he was a very organized civil engineer. Next, 86 Lyman Road. There was an email and then a mailing request for a COC, but it's a request for a COC on a superseding order of condition.
Oh, right. Yep.
So, and this was before I don't think it was even on the commission at this point.
No, you weren't.
So, but what I researched is that because it's a request for a COC on a superseding, this is not our ball
No,
game.
I'll do it.
Right. No, this was the project that Scott, we denied because of the 25-foot setback, and Scott
Pointed
went
out that it's just
to
a
DEP.
policy.
Yep.
Yep. So anyway, so we just have to wait for the DEP, and I don't think that they're moving very fast nowadays, because they still haven't gotten back to us about the Bigelow Road thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to inform people.
Right. Well, aren't they down a person or something?
Oh,
I think their staff of 3 got cut
well, that's too bad.
for Central Mass. Yeah.
They're probably fairly overwhelmed then. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, Highland Street Development site visit, DEP 1070241. So, you know, this is that Highland Ridge thing. So Andy Russo contacted me yesterday about checking the erosion control measures. I was able to get a hold of Pat and organize that, a time for he and I could agree on. Then I sent it out to everybody, and then Holly joined us, which was nice. She actually walked through the woods to get there, just because. Anyway, that area has a lot of trails, and they're now being chopped up to some degree. So, both Russos, both Andy and Jim were there. And so the 5 of us, walked down. We intermittently, the erosion control, the silt fence and straw wattles were put in by, I think it's Jay and I don't know, this organization that Pat Garner is very familiar with, and he says that they have an excellent reputation. I did multiple spot checks of it all along the way. So it was like a mile of it. And it's good. They do a nice job. It's all it's all trenched in and buttoned up. They do a nice job. Apparently they charge a lot for it, but they do a nice job. So so that's all in place. And we walked around the road and the perimeter, pointing out the wetlands. Interestingly, so in addition to that, on the far side where they have that intermittent stream, they're going to put up a 5-foot berm, of dirt, just to prevent runoff for the time being. They'll later have to smooth it out when they sort of put in some of those housing
In the
units.
back?
In the back.
The back side
on the
of
west side. It's on the
Yeah.
west. Oh, is it west or north?
West, because the property run is skinny north.
Right, it's on the west side. Yes, it's on
Yeah.
the west side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna put a berm in there. I've been so far pleased with my interactions with the Russos. They've been very, forthcoming and wanting to work cooperatively. They don't, they've been fine so far. So anyway, and now Pat's going, the agreement has been settled with them between Pat and the Russo brothers. And so he's going to be the site monitor, and so he'll just keep an eye on the place.
Why the Russo brothers? I thought they were just the site engineers.
Well, right. So for this, no, actually, I don't know who's actually literally, it may be Venacosta that's paying Pat. That's possible. Because you're right. They are the site engineers, they're the subcontractors. So I don't actually, but I do, Pat did tell me an arrangement was made. So I was happy with that.
As long as Pat's comfortable with the arrangement.
He
Who's
seemed
paying
to
him?
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he seemed to be. So, we'll keep an eye on the site. One curious little bit is that, we were talking about, the lay of the land, and, somebody asked about ledge and stuff like that. It turns out that, so there's a hilltop there.
Mhm.
It turns out that was probably a higher hilltop at one point. And because they found tons of evidence of blasting. And, actually they showed there was a pile of rocks, and you could still see drill holes, old
That's
drill
Volta.
holes from. So, yeah, that was a quarry at some point. Walter's, I don't know where Walter is right now.
Where,
But,
Lancaster Road you're talking about?
no, on Highland Street.
Is that a quarry?
The
That
slate
hilltop,
property.
Walter, you gotta, there you go.
Well, I don't want you to see me eating strawberry shortcake from.
Well, yeah, but now you told us.
And I get a share.
So Walter, that was a quarry up there at one point.
Back in where this Highland Ridge thing is?
Yeah,
Well, it might have been, yeah.
yeah.
I don't recall it as a quarry, but
It
It
goes.
was a long time ago.
Yeah, you actually may have been only in your 30s then. Way, way, way back.
Hasn't Chris Slade been working, preparing that for development over the last several?
Yeah, but he hasn't been blasting.
Right.
They said you dig in, you find old blasting wire and cap remnants and stuff like
Wow.
that.
a little aside on that. I told Chris that I thought we might be able to come up with $1 million to buy that whole area from him. he refused it, but he's told several people since then that he wished he had talked to us a little bit more about that. That's quite a large,
We do too.
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty up there. It's nice. Anyway, okay. Next, we have no appointments. After that, new business. The hands-on nature program. Heather is not able to hold a June one, but she's going to try to do something in July and August. And then she's again asking for our permission to put a
Porta potty.
porta potty discreetly on the property. So
That
do we need-
that is actually a challenge. How do I put it? You know, I own a piece of property up in Groton on a lake, and we actually we always put a porta potty in by the boat ramp. And we put one in, and boy, with the town and the state jumped all over it, says, unless that's cleaned every 2 hours, get it out of there.
Huh.
Due to COVID. It's got to be
Oh.
cleaned every 2 hours with COVID and monitored who goes in and who goes out. So we removed it. So I don't know if that's a problem here or not.
Well, I'll make that Heather's. I'll let her know that. By the way, do we need to actually vote on this?
Well, I want to.
We usually vote to allow her to use the property and put a porta potty there. Yes, we usually.
Well, let's hold that vote, and then, but with the caveat that she'll have to follow up on the COVID-19 stuff. Yes, Liz?
First, I have a question. Remember last time she put a lock on it so that bikers and stuff wouldn't use it? So
Right.
she might lock it up when it's not.
But you
That-
still got to
that's-
prove that it's cleaned.
Yeah, all those little children are going to be like they're like viral vectors. They're just
They probably
snotty little messes. So
Right.
I'll-
At first, she was putting it where it was visible from the road, and she was having a lot of trouble. And the following year, she tucked it up against the back of the stone wall there, and her issues reduced dramatically. And I guess she put a lock on it.
yeah, and I'm fine with all that. But thank you. We'll Steve. I'll alert her that she may have COVID-19 problems that are supersede our.
Yes, right.
In the meantime, we'll have a vote. John, I, Louise.
Wait. What's the motion?
I know. All right, motion.
Right.
I'll
I'll
entertain
make
a
the mo-
motion. Go
I'll
ahead.
make the motion to allow Heather Simpson to place a porta potty at
Berlin Meadows.
Berlin Meadows,
Out of sight.
out of sight for the months of July and August,
But she has to
as long as she
She
gets
meet the
permission.
COVID-19. As long as she meets the
The
COVID-19
COVID-19
guidelines.
protocols.
Yeah, protocols. That works.
Okay, before anyone seconds it, can we go back over that?
What do you got?
Slowly.
Okay, so you move that we allow Heather Simpson to place a porta potty for month of July and August,
At Berlin Meadows.
right, provided,
She meets COVID-19 protocols.
Would that be state or town or both?
State.
date, I will
Yeah.
put that in.
Yeah. They're the ones that setting the guidelines.
That's the motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Third,
Any further
Fourth.
discussion? Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. John,
John, you're going to get in touch with Heather?
John, I, Louise,
Aye.
Steve,
me,
Carolyn,
Aye.
Walter,
Here. Aye.
Liz.
strawberries.
oh boy.
Okay.
Aye.
The next new business, getting back, so I think Louise and perhaps Walter did attend the Zoom ZBA meeting concerning the 100 River Road. Yeah,
I didn't. Louise did.
yeah. Did you want to say, you emailed us, did you want to say anything else?
Just that, what I didn't put in the letter is that I don't think in the email, that the zoning board upheld the building inspector's cease and desist, and they denied the request of the owner to allow him to continue working and not pay the fines.
Okay, he's probably going to sell the property. All right, thank you. Next, old business. Opening on Conservation Commission, need a vote. So I emailed the Board of Selectmen with our preference to have Robin fill the vacancy. And they said, well, you need a vote. So I spent a fair amount of time crafting, I thought it was a really well-written email about like, okay, well, what, and then they told me to pound sand. So seriously, they just,
They were like, no, vote.
yeah. So they're not doing diddly unless we hold a vote. So entertain a motion to promote Robin to the vacancy on the Conservation Commission.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion?
What's the initiation test?
Steve, you know that.
Oh, I know.
Strawberry shortcake for everybody.
Robin, don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That only
I'll
hurts
figure
for a
something
little
out.
while. Yeah, it only hurts for a little while. Okay, so roll call vote. John, I. Louise, Steve,
Me.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Liz.
Aye.
Good. All right. So I'll.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome
Yeah.
aboard.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
not so first, now the Board of Selectmen needs to vote, and also you need to be sworn in.
Oh boy,
Um,
this is hardcore.
And
Oh, yes.
and yes, and get the tattoo, and and then also you needed to watch that ethics.
Oh, yeah. Do the
Thing.
ethics test.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
okay.
Probably the hardest, and not even hardest, just most time consuming.
yeah,
Right.
it's
Okay.
Part of the whole, the tattoo's
Tedious.
nothing.
John
yeah.
will sell you the answers.
No, I'll give you the answers.
This
Okay.
is being recorded.
I know.
So, yeah, slight ethics violation. Next, I added one other thing under old business. I got another email about that Maplewood Farms thing, where there was the woman said sign off on this. The town needs to sign off on this stuff, and there were two attachments. One attachment was 300 pages long. The other attachment was 1,000 pages long.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting somebody else do it.
Yeah, we don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be signing anything on Maplewoods.
Right.
Okay, good.
We get the soil importation
Notices.
notices,
We have no
but
say.
informational only.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
Next.
over that, I didn't get all the details.
Just that John received some more emails concerning the
Maplewood.
Maplewood Farms soil thing.
What did the 1,000-page report say?
Oh, well, you know what? After the meeting's over, Walter, we'll talk about it. It was like tables and it was
Yeah,
awful.
it's because they have to have it tested and
Yeah,
show
but you
provenance of the.
There's so
land,
much you
soil.
can't even scroll through it. It's just. All right, next, land acquisition. Laura, I don't really have any update other than I got an email from Margaret today who said essentially that she wants us, she said, I really think broader community input as soon as possible would be a good idea. The entire community needs to coalesce around this as it's a big deal. Would COMCOM be willing to organize a community-wide virtual roundtable discussion on, or maybe send a survey? The more backing this initiative has from the entire community, and the sooner it happens, the better for everyone. Clearly, the property is already considered important in many residents. What is the significance across the entire community? How does the project benefit the entire community? Blah, blah, blah. What local funding other than the tax levy is currently available? What additional local funding would potentially be made available? CPA? What outside? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I said I just emailed her that we discussed it tonight. So, Walter, if you're, and then Holly also, and maybe next week, Louise and myself on Monday, can find out if there's any money from the MVP. And I haven't heard anything from Ashley in the last several days, but about this, about other stuff I've heard. But we'll see. I mean, the trick is, I need to really talk to Margaret about like what monies really are available from the town, because I don't really want to bang my head against the wall if there's no, hey, hi.
My granddaughter.
Oh, that's great.
Hello.
Oh,
So we'll see what monies are available, because the chances we're going to get the town to vote to a tax levy is probably 0 at this point.
Well, it would have to be for the fall.
Yeah.
Currently, I mean, no one really knows what's going on with the budget right now anyway.
Okay.
Is there any news on the potential investor?
I have no update.
Right.
So I think Ashley was taking a breath. Frankly, I think she's really frustrated, but I'll reach out to her. So, okay. I don't know, maybe in the fall we can try some CPA leverage or something like that. I don't know about, the difficult thing is that it's not like the lawyers are saying we want this land to be conserved, but this is the thing, but we very much want, they're like, somebody needs to buy this land. So, the risk of making too much of a announcement about this is that, other people may say, well, okay.
I was just going to say, should this be an executive session discussion, or doesn't it matter?
No, I'm holding off on executive session stuff for where we really talk figures and more clear
money.
strategy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because this level has already been fairly public. But thank you, Robin. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, we're already discussing this at the town dump.
Oh, okay. Everybody knows then.
Yeah.
So anyway, just everybody think about options and ways of communicating and garnering support and fundraising, all that kind of stuff. All right. Next, land management, the Wetland Trail map and names. Let me screen share.
Sharing his face.
Did I not?
No, you didn't.
Well, I've already sent it
sent it
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent it out to everybody.
I saw it.
Anyway, it's, Dan has done a really fabulous job with the map as usual. So the question is, naming the map. It was actually Walter that came up with the Mount Laurel Trail, which is nice. I mean, it isn't as Mount Laurel-y as other trails I've been on, but it's a nice feature to it, and it's a pretty name. So, what are people's thoughts about just calling the trail the Mount Laurel Trail?
calling it what?
Definitely the trail.
What?
The trail, yes. But
Not
I
Not
think
the area.
the larger question is, what are we calling the conservation
Well, that's the other question.
Oh,
I don't know if it's
okay.
larger, yeah,
Oh.
but it's the other question. So, first the trail. Is everybody okay with the Mount Laurel Trail?
Yes.
All right. All right. So the larger land, again, Walter had an opinion that we don't need to call it Wendler anything, and I'm neutral on the matter. What I learned from Ashley is that it's not like the Wendler family were particularly generous or
No, they weren't.
about any of this. So we don't need to necessarily recognize them. In addition, if you look at the overall map, it's just one section of a larger conservation area.
Right.
Because the next one south of that is some conservation land the town bought some time ago, and I don't know who sold us that. I'm sure I could find out, but
To the south, to the west of it, you mean?
southwest of it, yeah.
That's actually Mark Rhodes donated that to the town. It was unbuildable. That was part of his development off of that development
Road.
west of us.
Coburn, you mean? Is part
Collins.
not Coburn. Collins, yeah. Okay.
Oh, he did Collins? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he
There's some interesting
donated
river
that.
crossings there.
So that's where that, but you know, just, I mean, it's a Peach Hill Conservation Area, you know, it's
I
like
think, yeah.
All Hill Conservation, Mountain Conservation, Hog Swamp Conservation.
Well, not
No,
Hog
not,
Swamp.
not. So,
That,
Well,
but Peach
that's not
Hill
a-
conservation is,
I like that, Walter.
yeah.
Like, yeah. You've been particularly creative lately, Walter. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Strawberry.
Soaked in what?
He's not telling.
Running a business.
Yeah. You can't say it's being filmed.
All right, that's good. So I'll let SVT know that, and that's good. That's cool.
Okay, what is the name?
So that it's going to be the Mountain Laurel Trail and the Peach Hill Conservation Area.
Which includes all the conservation that are contiguous, those pieces. of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the Harrington will still be on the Harrington CR, and that's good. Again, I want to emphasize that Candy was particularly wonderful this year with this, both letting us use her property and also helping with the trail development. So
These are
during
good.
all that,
There's no doubt about it.
yeah, during all that COVID stuff when we couldn't like otherwise. Yeah. Great. Okay, next under land management we have the corner garden, which would
Yeah.
somebody explain to me why how this became our thing?
I asked for it.
Did
No,
you-
I
did
went
you-
to Gillis. We talked about it, and then Gillis donated all this stuff. You know, I drove by there the other day, and by the time I got home, I forgot to send out an email to everybody. I'm willing to put some time into that. We get together every year a couple times and weed it and straighten it up, and it needs it badly right now.
Yeah, I noticed that the other day too.
Not as badly as
Like a
last year.
bonding, it's a
It's
bonding
better than
field
last
trip.
year. Yes, we have to
Bonding
socially
exercise,
distance.
yes.
So when's a good time to do it?
Wednesday nights. Usually we do it on a meeting night when we don't have a lot of action.
Well, we could do it on an alternate Wednesday night or a Friday night.
Yeah.
Wednesdays are better for me.
Okay, yeah, but you're a gimp anyway.
So let's do it Friday.
I can still be one-handed. You did last year.
You'll just be pointing one-handed, like John,
John.
you're over there.
Well,
So want to do next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday?
next
Sure.
You said
Wednesday is the what?
It's the day after Tuesday.
24th.
The week from
24th.
tonight.
Okay.
Just
All right.
send an email saying done.
Yep.
Okay. What
All
time?
right.
7 o'clock?
No, it's earlier, before the
6.
bugs get out.
6?
Oh boy.
6 o'clock, yeah. It usually takes
I mean,
a couple hours.
oh, I can anybody start at 5:30 or 5?
I
I have
can.
to work until 5.
Some of us work.
I don't work on Wednesdays. I do this stuff.
John, just call me and remind me whenever you go up, and I'll, if I'm here and get your call, I'll go up with you.
So you're,
Okay.
you're talking the 24th.
Yeah. So we'll say 6 p.m. and Walter and I will try to start things a little earlier.
Okay.
Cool.
I might be able to get there earlier too.
I can get there earlier.
Fabulous.
So what
So
time?
Steve will get there just as they're finishing up,
Well, as long
Right.
as there's beer there.
right?
Yeah.
Well, we can't go to the Flat Penny. It's
Well, for
done.
many reasons.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
So we'll just go back to Steve's.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's
Yeah,
got
there we
the
go.
bag.
All right. Next, community outreach, coffee talk. So I was invited to be on the panel for coffee talk. I had to talk about the Laura thing.
You did very well, by the way. I was on that for the first half.
Thanks. It was a little awkward. I was trying to balance between, because there's some stuff I needed to keep under wraps.
Yeah. Good job hiding the numbers.
Yeah, but also Carolyn was helpful, and then Ashley was on, and she helped with a couple of things too. So, and there were some people that asked some interesting questions, and I think it was good that people are starting to think about it more. So there's that, and so thank you.
Oh.
And then go ahead.
Well, the select board asked for a show of hands, and the majority of the people there, I think there were 23 people attending, and I think it was something like 17 people.
Something like that, or 16 or something, yeah.
Right. Said, said yes, they thought it was important to save it.
Well, yeah, but I would expect it's high. I think some of the people that didn't raise their hands are either people like Ashley, who's, not a resident of Berlin. She lives in that hideous town of Northborough. And or people that didn't know how to raise their hands.
Right.
So, okay. Finally, community outreach. So Nolan's Eagle project is basically done. So,
Yeah, I was up there yesterday. Looks
so
good.
yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's three map signs up. The kiosk at the corner garden has one. You check it out next Wednesday. And there's a little "You Are Here" thing for the parking, and those funny little black and white square thingies. Will tell you to give you a downloadable trail map.
The QR code.
Yeah, thank you. So there's three map signs posted. The third one's in the village. And then I'm trying to get Garth to put it up on the website. I've been in contact, but he hasn't done it yet. But it was kind of nice. It was cool. He's basically earned his Eagle project or Scout award.
Yay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's cool. So that's our second one. That's fun for us.
Yeah.
So and I also told him I got more projects lined up.
Definitely some more bridges over there.
Yeah, well, there's a big bridge that could be used up in Pisgah. It's on town land. There's another area that gets really wet. So yeah, but also up in Berlin Meadows. Okay, cool. So that's what I have for tonight. Is there anything else?
Well, anybody noticed the attention that big oak tree has been getting over there on the
Yes.
piece there, and I offered Dan LeBlanc. Oh, it's been about at least 4 years now. He spent hours over there, cleaned it all up, cleaned around it. And that mighty oak stood there, and then he died, and the limbs started falling off the oak. And so I put on the Facebook. I'd be glad to go over and cut some of the things up, and if someone wanted to come along, got a few responses. But the more I think about it, and that kind of falling down, it's very symbolic of Dan and the way it is. Just leave it. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And there were a number of those oaks around in the 50s when they're called pasture oaks. They grow up without any other trees around them. The cattle keep other growth down, and they spread out. They're magnificent white oaks. But anyway, I'm not going to work on it. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. It's quite a symbol.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Let nature take its course.
Yeah. Well, great oak is like that too. Then.
Yeah, great oak is like, there were a number of those great oaks around town. There were 3 or 4 of them along Lancaster Road. When you go up and start down Lancaster Road, the hill up on the right where all the houses are now, there were no houses. It was a pasture. It was always full of cattle. And there were 3 or 4 of those big oaks up spread along that field. It was a beautiful area, nice stone walls and curvy road. It was a beautiful area. Just for information.
Thanks.
Just kind of an interesting comment that there's the boundary for some, the surveyors used a great oak as a boundary marker for a piece of property. Of course, nobody now.
I love those old property
Markers. Yeah.
descriptions. Yeah, I love the old property descriptions.
Right, yeah. Of course, nobody knows where the great oak is anymore because it's just not there.
Right.
But, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Tthanks, everybody.
Yep. Wow. I get to attend a full meeting. Wow.
Are you gonna go to town meeting?
Oh
Outside?
yeah. Yep.
I intend to get eaten by bugs. Yes, they're going to spray ahead of time. I guess.
Yeah, they're gonna spray ahead of time, and they've got lights.
Lice?
Lights.
You heard right.
Like Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big lights.
You're going to be in the parking lot of the school?
Yep.
behind, so there's the side parking lot, and then there's kind of like a playground, paved playground area. It's gonna be back behind there,
Oh, yeah.
so that
Oh.
the parking can still be used.
Okay.
So, yeah, come to think of it, so I don't have to talk there, right?
Nope.
We're volunteering you.
No, because there's nothing for us to present. So,
Correct.
like, because my thingy that the annual report is in the book. So I
Yeah.
don't have to talk, right? Okay, good.
Well, I'll have a few questions for you. You can.
Please don't, Walter. I
Yeah.
will smack you with a hammer.
I
Liz?
I listened to the preview. Oh, well, maybe we all did. But I like the idea with that they were going to take all the things that passed, but we need to re-vote on. Barry said he might do them all as one,
Right.
which would be great.
Yep.
So we'll
Get
just
it.
rubber stamp it and not open anything up or questions or anything. So
That include the Community Preservation Act? No, that's.
Not the act.
Act. The committee.
Oh,
Right. The act has already been passed, and obviously we're collecting money. Last year we voted to form the committee to be able to spend the money, and that is one of the bylaws that needs to be revoted on.
okay.
yeah.
So
With that, I move to close the meeting.
Second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
I have
Steve's
to do a
got
roll
people in
call
his
vote.
pocket
Oh.
all night.
John, I, Louise,
Aye.
Steve,
Me.
Carolyn,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.